Unfortunately, I am afraid of socializing, and I've been living in exclusively during the night time for over 20 years. Occasionally I do see daytime, but my eyes hurt for 3 or 4 days following such an event. I can tell you from the outset that depression is not something that should be categorized as mental illness in the same way that other mental illnesses that cause hallucinations are categorized. It should be simply described as heartbreak, sadness, loneliness. So it can be overcome, but if it's immense, if it's gone too far, then it's not up to the person who's depressed to fix themselves. It's like basically asking somebody to stitch up their own wound, like Rambo. Some people are very strong and are able to do this, but when you don't have motivation, it's like climbing out of a well where the walls are so far apart that it's impossible to shimmy up. You have to basically rock climb and break fingers on the way to get your fingers into the nooks and crannies that are responsible. For a person who is not feeling depressed, they're at the top of the well and they've got rope. Just throw it down. Problem's gone, right? The main problem's gone. After that, you need to show that you are sorry for not bringing the rope sooner. And sometimes this means extreme guilt and sorrow. I put it to you that the saying, if it is to be, it is up to me, only applies to people who are healthy and enjoy life and actually want to live, not people who are depressed and sad and sick and dying. I've been in hospital a few times over suicide threats and other lifestyle choices that have caused me to end up in hospital due to my depression. But I can assure you that the people who put me here have neglected me and left, which has exacerbated the problem immensely. And I've even forgotten the cause of the actual depression. It's simply about being neglected and feeling extreme loneliness. Trying to socialize while in this mood or throughout the fatigue that I feel on a daily basis simply leads to an abandonment from friends. So, but also if you say no too often, they abandon you as well. So the trick is, if you are a depressed person and you're lying there on the floor of the well and there's no way out on your own, and you've crawled until your lungs are red raw from screaming and your forehead's bleeding from banging your head in frustration and all the pain you put through and trying to figure out a way to just end it all because the suffering's too much and it's gone on for too long, there is nothing you can do. You simply have to wait. So bad luck. If you don't have people who love you and care about you, it's really not you I'm talking to, because you're fucked. You're really fucked. There's nothing you can do. Okay? People might throw a little scrunched up piece of paper down the well like it's a garbage bin and send you little messages like, we can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. While they go to minimal reasoning and efforts to contemplate how you can get out of that well. It shouldn't be up to you to tell them where to get the rope from. Okay? Or if they can't figure out that they need rope, it shouldn't even be your responsibility to tell them that rope is the thing that will help you get out of here. And in a case where you're so weakened by your long-term depression and sadness that if they did throw a rope down, you wouldn't be able to even have the strength to hold on to it, it's not up to you to describe to them the knots that need to be tied or the soft material that needs to be attached to the rope, so you can simply slump an arm through and the other arm through, and they'll lift you up gently without it hurting or scraping your face against the wall on the way up. Because in a lot of cases, those people, if you complain that your face is being scratched on the way up, they'll back off and do nothing more. Because while they're trying to help you, they're causing you injury, they'll say, well, at least I tried, and they'll walk off and enjoy the rest of their lives, as they have been while you've been in absolute despair. Or they've simply been worrying while doing nothing, crying without helping, crying beside a rope. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It shouldn't be up to you to have to explain to those people to throw the rope down. They should work that out. And getting you out of that well is the first part of healing you. Otherwise, you're going to fall back in every other well, because your world will be covered in wells that you're going to fall into. And it will hurt on the way down as you smash your head into the ground again. But these people are around you, the people who claim to love and care about you. They're going to have to do something to stop these wells from being in your life. And it's easy for them to do, because they've got immense power. They've probably got 1,000 friends, and they could just say to one of them, do you want I thought you owned a bulldozer. Can you just fill in some of these wells? Thanks. And I'll need more rope as well. Get a stockpile of rope, just in case my beloved friend or family member falls into a well again. Failing your friends or family coming to the rescue while you're down in this well, rest assured that many people have suffered depression before. In the history of the world, not just humans but other animals as well. It's basically loneliness. You're not sure exactly what you need to fill the gap of the pain to stop it from happening. Sometimes you're sure. And you're right. What you're expecting will stop the depression is actually true. You've got neural pathways that have formed strong relationships to one another. These neural pathways will always lead you back to this feeling of despair, unless you let them weaken by not thinking about certain things anymore. That's not going to get you out of the well, by the way. The well you're in you have to be pulled out of that. But in order to not dwell on the well, you need to replace those bad memories with good memories. And in a state of weakness, you cannot be expected to do that. So when you're surrounded by the ambulance and the police outside the well after somebody had the good sense to put a rope down that was, softened by some fabric and had some sort of helmet for you to wear and face masks so you didn't scratch your face on the way up the well. After they bring you out, you've got a blanket and the police and ambulance are there. Then it's up to the police to probably warn the family members and friends that they'll be arrested and they face 10 years imprisonment if they neglect you again. And apparently it is illegal to neglect somebody to that extent that they actually feel the urge to commit suicide. I'm not sure what the charge is, but it's a pretty serious crime. It's basically manslaughter. That's like walking over a little girl who's tied to the train tracks and just keep on going without untying her knots and then hearing a squish and not accepting responsibility. People like that, by the decree of logic, have no business in this world. They are the enemy to civilization, and they are the reason why there's a huge amount of pain and suffering in the world. People who don't care, or care about themselves and not about others. In a state of weakness, you don't have the strength to care about others, so you're off the hook in this regard. But I'm sure that if you ever felt extreme pain and suffering, then later on you're going to be wanting to help other people as well if you recover. So let's talk about guilt. The people who've let you stay in this well or who've put you in the well, it's their responsibility to get you out of the well. If they're cruel and evil, they won't. So you're fucked unless somebody else comes along. But in many cases, you need closure for that from that person. So that person or those people who've put you in this well, in depression, in the darkness, they either they need to die, or they need to come and give you closure. So if they don't, you won't be free until they're dead. And then because your mind then knows there's nothing else you can do to try and wait or chase that closure, you can then start to do other things in your life, and the new neural pathways will form, and those other painful ones will weaken. You'll remember them for the rest of your life, but they won't be dominating all your thoughts. It will take 3 weeks to begin to not think about it all the time, to be able to go to sleep at night and actually sleep, and instead of distracting yourself to the point of exhaustion until you sort of faint yourself into unconsciousness each night. You'll need to have these people. Often you need justice from these incidences. But as I've said, if you can't find any other friends to at least come along and care, and that involves, of course, caring. In my mind, caring is logically known what it means by people. I mean, it requires you to understand the person, so that requires in-depth analysis of somebody. That could take up to a month of full study, but along the way, you know more after the first 3 seconds of starting to listen to somebody than you did before you listened. So the victim, the person who's depressed, they might not have the vocabulary or strength or motivation or trust to tell you the story nicely at first, so you need to persevere and start drawing with a pen and paper a mind map of where this person goes with their thoughts. That's the job of the person who's trying to help, the caring person. They don't care yet. They're just going through the phase of understanding. So once understanding is complete, you've got a full understanding, and you then have to put yourself in your mind in the person's shoes who's suffering, the depressed person's shoes. So with the understanding, put yourself in their position. That's step 2. And the third step to caring is feeling empathy. You understand the pain from your imagination that is felt from being in this situation, because you fully understand it, and you don't want your person who you love to feel that way. Now, you finally achieve caring. Most people that I've met in my lifetime love words, and they don't know what they mean. They just say, I care about you, I love you. This is not true. They don't. Sometimes they'll feel love. If they feel a pang in their chest, that means they want to hug me. That's actually love, and you can feel that for a car or a puppy dog, and most people feel love for a puppy dog instantly. It's no different from loving a girlfriend or a wife or a husband or any other thing like that. It's exactly the same, or a child. It's the same feeling. You can have other things added to that, like lust and a sense of responsibility and other things like that. But love is quite simply that feeling you get in your chest when you want to hug somebody. If you don't feel it, then you don't love them. And you don't love somebody all the time, because you don't feel it all the time unless you're madly in love, alright? Or you feel a great connection to somebody, or a puppy dog or something like that. Or a car, you can't stop thinking about it. You want to hug the car, or a tree, or something like that. It's the same feeling inside you. It's oxytocin being released as a chemical from your brain that allows you to feel that. And I think it's been useful as an evolutionary tool for us to develop that in order to give us close bonds for survival. Let's not phrase things in terms that, we developed this sense because blah blah blah, because evolution did not have a purpose or an end game result, unless the end game is to create robots and get rid of organic matter from this planet, because we were required as a middle step. Also, if you're depressed, start smoking. It's very expensive, but it is the ultimate antidepressant, and it will instantly make you feel better. You're going to die earlier anyway. Do you understand that? You already, those people have damned you with their absolute cruelty. And if there's nobody out around helping you right now, and even if there are, and if they're not doing a good enough job, smoking will be your best friend, because loneliness is cured by these. Get some. You're going to die anyway, right? It's my only real coping mechanism. I've lost all the rest of my friends this week because I had a sense of justice, and I was Chicken Little, basically. Or is it the little red hen? Yeah, the little red hen, who gives and gives and gives and gives, and nobody gives anything back, and then when the cake is finished, everyone wants the cake. But Little Red Hen says, no, I'm not going to fucking give you a cake. I'm going to have my cake myself and eat it too. And the rest of them don't get nothing. But then at the end of the day, you wanted to share the cake with people, so you're missing out as well because of these assholes along the way. If it's possible for you at all, try to find friends who actually are nice. Unfortunately, the best people are delusional Christians or something like that. And they're doing everything for points, so they get a better place in heaven with their bright lord, who is a humanoid creature, and we live in his balls or something, in a giant universe shaped like him. I used to be one. Passionately praying. Didn't even know what I was looking for. I just imagined this crucifix in the sky. It's like if God was killed with a knife, I'd be praying to a fucking knife in the sky. This shard of light would come through the sky in the shape of a dagger. Except in the case of my imagination, it was a crucifix. It was ridiculous, man. Unfortunately, it's a much lonelier world without a God, knowing that people in the sky are watching you, your dead relatives and so on, saints and the creator of the universe and so on. And there could be a team of scientists looking into this little petri dish and wondering what we're doing, but I can't see that they're interacting that much to try and make our lives better. I see good people suffer really badly. So, yeah. So abandonment, neglect, these things lead to depression. It is up to the people who are in power, the people who have not got depression, to help you out. The people who say they care need to prove it. The onus is on them to save you. You cannot save yourself. If you need drugs, it should be because you've got some sort of major chemical problems. Usually not the case. Everyone's got chemicals in their mind, and some people just focus on the good things and other people focus on the bad things. But when a lot of bad things happen in a row, you get down this well and you're isolated. So I recommend you, the problem is you can't scream at them. You can't scream, please give me the fucking rope. You can't do that, otherwise they'll run away. That's what I've done. But if I didn't scream for the rope, they would have just been treating me nicely, knowing I was down the well, and just being like, everything's cool, isn't it? It's good, isn't it? Good party up here, isn't it? I can't see the party, I'm in the well. Oh well, if you're going to be like that, we don't want to play with you anymore. See ya. And they'll abandon you anyway. It's really up to people who can't be quite bothered getting you out from the well to yell at the people for you. Because ostracization is a good motivator, and these people who've put you in the well or let you stay in the well and don't do anything to get the rope, they need to be shamed, basically, into getting the fucking rope. If they don't, then you're fucked. So if you can, try to alert the media and get them to be shamed. Make sure the angle of the presentation is all about your family doing the wrong thing by you and not about you being a whinger, because even though complaints are the seeds of heroism, and people should complain if something's wrong, society's fucking stupid. I mean, there's just no way to trust society in general. You should not trust that to happen. So you've got to manipulate the situation in order to get these people to be... You need to manipulate the situation in order that the truth actually be told. It's harder for the truth to be told than the other way around. You've got to really manipulate and massage the situation in order to get what you want, unfortunately. And this is the actual truth. Being honest, in order to get the truth told, is a very weak form of getting the truth told. And you'll be an old man dead, and all the people you've entrusted to get the rope have died, and you've been stuck in the well your whole life before somebody might half listen to you say your death words, which are, I was always an honest man, and then you're dead. A life of depression, which is fucked. So you need to manipulate those people, media or whoever else, can threaten ostracization against the people who claim to love you but don't get the fucking rope. And yeah, that's 20 minutes. So depression, the solution is blame. Blame the people who haven't got the rope for you. Make sure that they get it, otherwise you're fucked. And if you're the person who's up there wondering what to do about the person who's down in the well, and you've got rope beside you, and you're wondering, what can I do to help him or her? Get the fucking rope. Alright, get blankets ready, get people ready to comfort, get a whole bunch of theme park rides and all this sort of stuff. Being careful and understanding that the motivation's not going to be there, the energy's not going to be there, there's going to be weakness. Somebody's got like 1,000 stitches in their side because their heart's been ripped out. It's going to be painful, and it's going to be a recovery process, and you've got to stay there the entire time and not have other plan Bs to go to. You need to stick around. If they've got friends they wished hadn't abandoned them, get in contact with those friends and give them some blame as well. Share the blame around. Share the fucking blame. Don't let people get away with this. When emotional neglect and abuse is read through an fMRI brain scanning device, it shows up as the same as physical abuse. So if somebody is emotionally harming you, use physical assault on them. It's a fair game. And any decent magistrate will deem that to be fair self-defense, because if somebody's emotionally assaulting you, it causes the same amount of harm as physical assault. So use your fists if you need to. They're self-defense.